The fear of lockdown today lingers in the minds of many people because after a year, India is now experiencing a second wave. It is recording around 50,000, more than 50,000 daily new cases. So obviously, as the fear of second wave grips, there is an increased speculation over the possibility of government imposing lockdown. However, the Telangana Chief Minister dismissed any such possibility. But there are news that in Maharashtra, lockdown may be imposed. So any lockdown would prove to be lethal for the lives of many underprivileged and disempowered sections of society. Well, lockdown may be crazy for some, but it obviously erodes the livelihood of many. We have seen a massive economic downturn. We have seen the fate of the migrant laborers walking on the roads for hundreds of kilometers. So obviously lockdown means a massive attack on the lives and the living conditions of the people. So, but the fear is that as the daily number of new cases rise, the debate over lives versus livelihoods may come back again. But what is the solution to this? The solution is to prevent lockdown and take immediate measures to ensure that India comes out of this second wave successfully without the need to impose a second lockdown. So what should it do? Firstly, there is a difference between the first lockdown and the second lockdown. First wave and second wave. When the first wave attacked India, India experienced the first wave of COVID-19. We were not medically prepared for that. There were no adequate masks, there were no adequate PPE kits, ICU beds, oxygen cylinders, etc. Today, that is not the reality. That is not the situation. We are fairly prepared for this eventuality. Secondly, we have already begun the vaccination. Already, I think around 6 crore people have been vaccinated so far. So, there is a need to speed up the vaccination program. Today, the only way to prevent or the spread of the second wave is to intensify the vaccination program. Governments have rightly announced that from tomorrow onwards, anybody and everybody above the age of 45, irrespective of whether one suffers from the comorbidity or not, will be vaccinated. So we need to have walk-in vaccination, cut down the bureaucratic procedure and process for getting vaccinated. Not just the age criteria. We need to identify the vulnerable population. For instance, a 30-year-old interstate transport driver is more likely to be affected by virus than someone sitting at home after retirement from a public service. So we need to identify the vulnerable groups apart from the age-specific criteria. Well, age is one easy criteria to administer the vaccine. But look at the experience during the COVID-19. The research suggests that the vegetable vendor, for instance, is more likely to spread the virus than anyone else. So obviously we need to vaccinate such people who can turn to be super spreaders. So to avoid sudden spike in the number of cases, we need to focus on identifying the possible super spreaders and vaccinating them irrespective of their age. So that is something which the governments have to immediately do. And to speed up this vaccination program, we need to utilize the idle capacity of vaccine manufacturers. Unfortunately, only few companies have this science of vaccine. So they have mastered this technology, so they have discovered the vaccine. So, but the problem here today is their company's ability to manufacture vaccine will not be sufficient to meet the demand for vaccine. As we move ahead, the demand for vaccine will increase. So the only way is government should prevail over these pharma companies to share the technology with other vaccine manufacturers so that their idle capacity will also be used to increase the supply of vaccine to the domestic market. For example, Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech has discovered Covaxin. Today, media reports indicate that the Covaxin is not available in Hyderabad. So there is a shortage of Covaxin in Hyderabad itself. So we need to improve the supply of the vaccination. There is a demand in the world today to even waive the patents on vaccine So we need to tell the big pharma companies, well, you have invested, so you have got enough profits. Now it is the time to share the knowledge with others so that the world will get the vaccine fast. So today, and besides this vaccination, we need to take measures like the COVID-19 appropriate behavior. Well, research even today tells that the latest spread of or surge of second wave is not a result of any new variant. In fact, the researchers have found a India-specific variant apart from the circulation of the South African variant, UK variant, and Brazil variant in India already. But there is no evidence, research-based evidence, to conclude that the new variant is responsible for the recent second wave. So therefore, we need to ensure that the COVID-19 appropriate behavior is strictly maintained. Because scientists today tell that laxity in following the COVID-19 appropriate behavior is the reason for the second wave, rather than a new variant or a new mutation. So we need to ensure that the society sticks to the COVID-19 appropriate behavior. Well, of course, the government need to be very vigilant and strict in enforcing such restrictions. Any restriction other than the blanket lockdown will help to control the virus, and obviously it will not adversely affect the economy. So we need to avoid unnecessary gatherings, unnecessary congregation of people. So automatically that will reduce the possibility of spread of virus. Otherwise, there is a fear, there is a possibility that we may land up in a situation where the second lockdown perhaps may become inevitable. So the time has come for the government and society to rise to the occasion and ensure that India fight the second wave without imposing a fresh lockdown.